everyone, welcome to yet another edition of Pride Lives On. Today we have with us Mr. Navel Nazareth. He embodies bravery because of the way he embraces his queer personality as long as being an entrepreneur at the very tender age of 23. So thank you so much for coming to our show, and I'm very honored to share the same space with you.
Thank you so much, Lok, for even inviting me here today and giving me this opportunity, I'll say.
Thank you so much. You started a business at the age of 23. I mean, that is something that is already quite a big thing to most people when you just even think about it as an idea. So you started your business at the very young age of 23, and it's called NAM Solutions, right? You all specialize in digital marketing and PR. So tell me a little bit about NAM.
So NAM was just few friends coming together and starting to work.
Right.
There was no idea behind opening a business as such when it comes to NAMs. We were just few freelancers. Like, luckily we are from media. We've studied media. So once you study media, what happens is you turn out to be a person who's appealing to a lot of people,
Right.
and they are appealed by your skills more than you as a person. They want you to work for them and give them the best you can.
Right.
So I was good with content. I had one friend, Anjali, she was good with her PR skills, and I had a friend who was good with strategy.
Right.
So people started approaching us like, could you do a content for me? Could you do something for me? And we were working at that point in time. We were working in all our different organizations, and suddenly we realized that these projects are so huge that if we opt to do this projects, we might not even need to even work. This could be like a daily bread kind of a situation.
Right.
And then we randomly started working. Okay? One fine day, you might be aware of office politics, etc.
Absolutely.
And being queer, a lot of politics gets involved because the way you are, the way you present yourself. So this seemed to me like a feasible and safer place to work in, because I would be appreciated for my work, but then again, there would be no judgments here. And then it was like a quick decision, yes, let's do it. And a freelance project became a legal formality to register it for extracting some money out of some clients, leading to
Right.
being 2 years in the business and going strong. So
Right. Okay.
it was not planned, it is just there.
So I mean, there are lots of times where we're just throwing off ideas to each other. A lot of friends that are good with different things, different areas of expertise, but to actually materialize that and make it into reality is mostly, I would compare it to pretty much like a Goa plan between friends.
Yeah.
But you guys are the special few who made it through. And I'm sure that requires a lot of courage. Do you think a lot of that courage came from the fact that you were trying to embrace a queer identity in a very bigoted society?
To be honest, yes, it was that, because what happened was, after a point in time, you realize that your safety is more important than, what output you're giving or wherever you are. And while I was working in this place, I was good, I was productive, I was able to deliver what was expected, but it always led to that sense of, being scared that, at any point somebody could just come, point out one of my worst, one of the things which they might think is wrong about me, and that could 360-degree change everything about my professional life.
Right.
I could end up, in a situation where I have collated a lot of things for myself from that organization, and it could just go in just a second. So, and the only reason why this was happen is because of my sexuality or my sexual preference or the way I behave. So yeah, it was kind of scary for me at that point, and then this gave me a sense of security.
Right.
And it came at the right time, because again, I am not sure if that would not come, what would have happened to me. Like, yeah,
Okay.
I'm privileged to have that opportunity.
Fair enough. That's a very, very humble way to look at it, and I'm very glad to hear that. So now, obviously, before starting your journey as an entrepreneur, like you mentioned, you worked elsewhere,
Correct.
And now, when you have your own thing, you come from a position of authority. But when you're working for or with people where you're not in that position of authority, there tends to be sometimes a sense of lack of power.
Yes.
And that lack of power coupled with the identity that you were trying to explore about yourself. How was that experience? Working with people that are superiors.
Okay, so now I have two very different kind of perspective when it comes to the situation of me working under somebody. I have worked for a news company, like a broadcasting news company, and I've worked for a newspaper. When I used to work for this news company, it was a Hindi news channel. So a lot of people over there had a very narrow minded thoughts about community, about sexuality, about representing yourself. For them, gender is what mattered the most, like, and the stereotypical gender.
Right.
So while being in that company, even doing this could lead to people raising their eyes as to what is wrong with this guy.
Right.
Why is he behaving that way? Even if you get hurt, you normally you give out a sound ouch, right? So even if my ouch sounds a little feminine, it could lead into a lot of suspicion because अरे ये ऐसा क्या करता है? Why is he behaving like this?
Right.
ये है क्या वो है क्या? A lot of names used to come in,
Right.
and that used to actually put me down, not used to give me opportunity to actually present myself.
Right.
So this was an environment where I was not accepted at all for the way I am.
Right.
Moving towards writing, when I shifted to a newspaper, the experience was entirely different.
Okay.
The sub-editor, the editor who I used to work under, she was accepting, but she was over-accepting.
Okay.
Like, now I am a guy, okay? I do identify as a queer person. So I have few set of traits which I do. Like I like maybe sometimes painting my nails, sometimes I like wearing makeup. This is when I like doing it, right? But imagine a situation where you're forced to do it.
Okay.
My editor used to come sit next to me. She's like, wear lipstick now. You have to wear this bangle now.
Okay.
You are supposed to tell me which color looks good. And why? Because you're gay. You're my gay best friend. And that used to make me go crazy.
Okay, I've not heard that before.
Exactly, because that's completely different from what it was in the news agency.
Yeah.
Because there, I have to be careful about how I look, what I do, how I behave. And here, people are expecting too much from me. Moving to this space was very different and overwhelming. Because here what happens is, there are some things I don't want to do, yet I'm forced to do it. Just because some people wanted to be perceived as they are accepting of the community.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to become somebody's social project.
Right.
That is not who
Absolutely.
I am. And that was a huge turn off, and then that was the time when we met actually, when Naam Solutions happened, and then it collated well with the timing.
Right.
So that I could just leave out of this space and go to a safer place where I am me. So
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, that happened.
yeah, one of the very, I have seen how, sometimes the extreme wokeness can disturb the society as well, but I've never seen or heard about such an example, and which definitely goes to show that being accepting and being, an ally does not mean that you can still overpower somebody. The whole point of the freedom that everyone is looking for is where you don't get overpowered.
Correct.
And yeah, I guess thank you for shedding light on that. It's quite insightful also for lots of people to know that there is a way to be an ally.
Correct.
And because there are lots of people that go in a sense where they will be overbearing and the other person doesn't like it, like, oh, these people don't even want our help.
Correct.
That's the kind of mindset, and we need to erase that, because you're not doing anyone a favor.
Yeah.
You're being a decent human being.
Correct. At the end of the day, that
As
is
simple as
what
that.
you have to.
Right. So when did you start realizing that you have a somewhat different personality than what people call normal?
So I know it'll be a little hard to believe this, but then, when you are in school, you're just normal. You're around people in a classroom where everybody is your friend.
Right.
And that usually happens till 4th standard, that you're almost like girls, guys sitting together, playing together. And then that divide starts coming, where girls are separately playing and guys are moving out of the class and, loitering around the corridors, etc. And I never felt like being that guy who was loitering around, teasing other people, going after other people. I always like being in my class, being in my on my bench and doing something or the other. Okay? I'm not very artistic also, like I'll not fake it. I'm not artistic, but then I enjoyed doing doodling and etc. And usually girls used to be appreciative of that. They used to like it, right? Like when you're drawing something, when you're doing something creative, it attracts people, and usually it attracts a lot of female crowd. So they used to be surrounding me, and we used to just play around. And I started realizing that the guys who are in my class have started behaving weirdly.
Okay.
Now it has come to a situation that initially when everything was, I have been the same. I have not changed at all. I've always been sitting on my bench. But suddenly guys have moved out and they think that I am weird because I am not coming with them.
Right.
I choose to instead sit in the classroom and play with whatever I'm playing. And this was 5th standard. And it was very difficult for me to even transition through that period where suddenly sitting in a class makes you a woman. They used to call me a ladki hai kya, ladki hai kya, ladki hai kya, exact statement, ladki hai kya. And I used to be confused thinking ki is class mein baithna a girl thing? Like, have we divided gender in a way that, okay, boys are supposed to go out of the class to play and girls are supposed to sit in the class. And just because I do that, I'm a girl. So things started elevating from there because now, till that time, nobody used to notice this, but I still have a very soft voice. Like, if you listen to me without the video, you'll probably think it's a girl speaking. And it's all genetic. I can't control that. People told me start smoking because that could help, but trust me, it doesn't. So I have
Great
this
friends.
I have this light voice. So because of that, I started getting teased.
Right.
Like a lot of people, ladki hai, chakka hai, chakka hai,
Right.
wherein they don't even know the real meaning of the word chakka.
Absolutely.
If in case I was a chakka or if in case I was a transgender, I think I would be very proud to accept it. Because again, it takes a lot of courage to accept yourself. So now what happened here is school became difficult for me because boys have randomly started teasing me. If I'm walking through the corridor, they're just hitting me on my head, they're just hitting me on my bum. Trust me, they're doing that. And the only reason why they're doing this is because I am behaving in a certain way, which even I'm not aware of how else to behave. I used to go ask other friends of mine, listen now, what am I doing wrong? Tell me, correct me. If you see me doing this, tell me, I'll stop doing that. Because again, who would like to be a center of attention?
Yeah.
There was one time I was in school, there were like a group of boys, they forced me to kiss a girl just to prove that I'm a boy. And this happened in 5th standard, where I am surrounded around around 10-12 boys. There's a girl in the center and they're forcing me to kiss her on the lips. And until I don't kiss her on the lips, they would not leave me alone. And I had no option to rather than kissing her. And I kissed her. And as soon as I did that, they let me go. But I thought this would be the end of my misery then. But this was just the beginning. They used to start. So then what happened is they started becoming a lot of physical. Then I realized that no, I have to stop this. I went to my parents. I didn't tell them the reason. I told them I want to switch my school. And luckily my parents didn't ask me a lot of questions, but they understood that there would be something wrong.
Right.
They shifted me to another school. I was in a private school. They shifted me to a government school. And while I was in this government school, you'll not believe it, things became worst.
Okay.
Because I was new in the school. Initially 10-15 days, they didn't know about me. They were curious to know about me. So a lot of respect, a lot of attention towards me. But once they started looking at these characteristics I had, they started, behaving even worse. Like I remember there was a time I was sitting on the second last bench in my school and my bag was with me. If my bag fell down now, they used to steal from my bag. They used to, and everything is to make me angry, get that, reaction out of me, correct. The reaction which would not be normal. And then the entire class gets a reason to laugh. So it had become like that to an extent where, they started writing on my school washroom that for a good time call Navel, in a worst way. I'm saying it in the
Obviously, yeah.
most filtered way possible. And I have seen it through my own eyes. My name is written there, my class is written there, roll number is written there, and things like these are written about me. And after that, I never had the courage to step inside that washroom.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And even if you are in the washroom, it either used to be one of the two scenarios. I enter the washroom, guys used to just walk out. I don't know. They might think I might peep. And there was nothing to peep actually. Or else it would be a situation that when I'm in the washroom, they would try and come in a large number to scare me. Like they would do something wrong with me. And these are students who are in 7th, 8th standard. 8वीं के बच्चे ऐसा करते हैं. एंड मेरे लिए ये प्रोसेस करना बहुत मुश्किल था. 7th, 8th, 9th, I tried doing the best I can. I used to hate going to school, but yet I went. But when it came to 9th standard, no, I said enough is enough. I can't take this anymore. I just went for my exams. I did not write anything on my paper. Because I knew if I don't write anything, I'll fail. But if I fail, I don't have to repeat my year because I can do private 10th. Because that was the psychology which I had found out कि अच्छा एक solution है school नहीं करना तो 10th private कर सकते हैं. So I failed 9th standard. Parents were super disappointed. अरे इतना कैसा ये डम बच्चा है, पढ़ाई करने नहीं आता, कुछ नहीं आता. And then I was okay with that. I was okay with them being so angry or anything, that reaction, because I knew my safety was important at that time. And if I would have even said this to somebody, it was a Catholic school. Both the schools were Catholic schools, so they're anyways against this kind of things. Like they totally into heterosexuality. They don't believe that homosexuality exists. It's a sin and all that. I've heard all that shit. So again, there was nobody I could actually go to and tell them ki listen, I'm facing this. Can there something be done? Teachers used to know. People are calling me names. People are doing this to me. But teachers used to ignore it. I've seen somebody teasing me in front of a professor looking at me, laughing and walking away. And that was just cool. Like where you're supposed to, nurture yourself, learn new things. I never got that opportunity because I was always scared कि कल अगर मैं स्कूल जाऊँगा तो मैं वापस घर पे कैसे आऊँगा?
Yeah.
What state would I be in? What mental state, physical state? What if somebody would just go, randomly hit me or something like that?
Right.
And I was super scared of getting, hit.
Right.
Because
of course, yeah.
Then I have nothing to tell my parents that why did this happen?
Yeah.
Physically. So yeah, school was very difficult. But again, it went forward, and then college came in. Till that time, I was not aware of my sexuality, to be very honest.
Right.
Because sex was something which was, very, a topic which was way too far for me right now, because I'm currently struggling just being who I am. Just with my hand movements, just with the way I walk, just with the way I talk. I'm trying to understand what that is, than to understand what, my sexual preference is.
Right,
That is so super far away for me right now.
Right.
And 10th, 11th, it was very difficult. Like, because there have been some incidents which has happened with me, which are, difficult to even say. But again, it's very confusing because, when you've been molested as a child, there's a lot of trauma attached to it. And, whenever a person molests you, they always try to show it in a way that you are the reason why I'm doing this to you. There's nothing wrong with me. There's something wrong with you. Hence, I'm doing this to you. I've always been felt that way. That's why it's still difficult for me to, connect to somebody emotionally, allow somebody to, even touch me. Because I've always been felt that way, that I am doing this to you because you are this way.
Right.
If you would not be this way, I would have not done this to you.
Right.
And that includes physical assaults, mental assaults, people actually coming and telling me not so good things. And it's only because the way I want to live the way I am.
Right.
Weird. So I think it took me college to understand my sexuality, but yeah.
Wow,
it was a difficult journey.
Must have definitely been a very, very, very tough ride. And I mean, there are just so many things to take home from here. It's like how at such a young age, there's so much hate that is instilled into kids. When you're going to college, you're you're getting abused by people, and there are enablers like your professors who you're supposed to look up to, who are supposed to be there to guide you and to protect you. And that's when there is a great feeling of dejection, and I'm not sure what kept you going through that feeling of dejection. And there is a loss of motivation. So what do you think was like, because there's so much that you've said to me right now. I mean,
Correct.
I am kind of stammering, I'm kind of processing right now, because I'm not able to understand what gives people the strength to overcome such situations, so many things, and at the same time start a business. I mean, just explain to me. It's like supernatural to me right now.
I don't know, yeah. It's actually an amalgamation of a lot of things, because you know that while these things are happening to you, you also have a family who you have to take care of, being the son of the house.
Right.
Like I stay, since childhood, I stay in a joint family,
Mm-hmm.
which not a lot of people get to experience in today's time. I stay with my uncles, my jeeja ji, my behen, everybody. We stay together in one house. So there's always, my granny's always made sure that while these wrong things were happening outside, my house is a safe space for me to be who I am. You will not believe this. Even on some days, if I wanted to dress differently like a girl, or wear a chunri or take a ghungat, my grandparents would never stop me from doing that. Though it is conventionally a feminine trait,
Right.
if I want to play with a doll, luckily I had a sister who had a lot of toys. If I used to play with a doll, they would not judge me. They would let me play with that doll.
Right.
If I would behave in a certain way that is not considered masculine, they would never make me feel that I'm doing something wrong. Though a lot of people outside, so when you are a Catholic, when you're born in a Catholic house, you have a community you need to look, like a church gives you a specific community you need to be in.
Right.
This community is again a lot of religious practices happen, a lot of community meetings happen. So I know that for a lot of meetings, whenever I used to attend, they used to tell me on my face that you just sound exactly like your sister.
Okay.
Okay, you have a very feminine voice. You stop behaving like this. You stop holding people ka hand. You stop doing this. You stop doing these gestures. And again, I would try, of course. If somebody is telling me you need to do something right, I would try. But it is so second nature to me that it wouldn't happen. So, but then whenever I went home with this thing, when somebody came and told them about this, they never actually heard them. They never confronted me or told me that, listen, this is what you're doing wrong, you need to do this right. They never told me that. So my support system was my family. Because directly they didn't know about me at that time, but they didn't even want to question me, because they were like, you be who you are and we'll be there with you towards the entirety of your thing.
Right.
Just be who you are. Don't tell us also who you are, what you want to be, what you identify as, because that doesn't matter to them.
Right.
That was what the psychology I had with me, that नहीं मुझे अगर life में कुछ करना है तो मेरे घर वालों के लिए करना है. Even if I die today, I need to make sure that I live sufficient for them, that they can be happy in my absence. And that was, I think, one of the major reasons why I sailed through. Initially it was difficult, school was difficult, college mein luckily I was able to gain that courage, because I realized one major thing was, when you confront your bully, he has nothing to do. Like for example, you again, it's a little vulgar term to use, but people, guys used to come to me, my seniors in college, and tell me, come suck me off.
Okay.
I used to tell them, I don't mind doing it, but will you enjoy it? And if you do enjoy it, will you also be gay? So
Right.
after that, they had no comebacks.
Of course.
So every time any topic comes out, they used to be like, अरे हाँ अभी ये जाएगा झंडा लेके घूमेगा प्राइड मार्च में. I used to be like, हाँ मैं अभी जा रहा हूँ, तू आ रहा है क्या साथ में? So once I started answering them back, they realized that now he's not getting scared. अभी तुम इसको कुछ भी बोल दो, ये अभी नहीं डरेगा. And one reason why college happened well was my vice principal. Her name is Subhashini Naikar.
Okay.
So what she did was, I was randomly sitting with her in her in an auto rickshaw. We were traveling to some place. I was in a lot of college events. So we were traveling to this place. We're sitting in the auto rickshaw. She just asked me one thing. Are you dating someone? I said, no ma'am, not dating. So are you interested in guys or girls? And only her that one question made me feel so secure that if I'm dating a guy, she's okay. If I'm dating a girl, she's okay.
Right.
She doesn't mind whom I'm dating. All that matters to her is that I be safe and I make sure that I work for college with her, and she has no problem with me. Initially, there was time, when I used to be scared in school to even stand up and come on the white blackboard to write something. She gave me the courage to become the cultural secretary in my second year. Wherein I had like 50 people who were working under me and have to listen to my instructions. Out of this, there were like 20-30% were seniors who were in TY, had to listen to me and my instructions. So now they used to feel very, powerless in front of me because cultural secretary, cultural department ka ek volunteer. So that's when they started, attacking me. Ki, "Arey tu aise karta hai, tu waise karta hai." But by that time, I knew even if I do something wrong, Subhashini ma'am is there to back me up.
Right.
So I had that courage then कि मैं बोल सकता था, क्योंकि मुझे पता था स्कूल कॉलेज में कुछ हुआ मैं बच जाऊंगा, घर पे कुछ गया मैं बच जाऊंगा, घर पे मार तो नहीं पड़ेगी. एक बार वो लोग क्वेश्चन पूछेंगे कि क्या है, ऐसे क्यों है, can you explain it to us better, give us some references, give us time to process this information, but it would never lead to them being violent or just telling me चल अभी backpack करके निकल घर से.
Right.
Because that confidence I have on my entire family. So again, that helped a lot to stay in the race.
Definitely, stuff like your own personal strength, learning from your experiences, learning how to tackle situations is definitely the crux of it. Absolutely, but yes, help from people like family that are close to you, help from authority figures is just something that gives you that little extra push to be able to
that courage.
Really have the courage to do so many things. And just thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm sure you're the vice principal of your college, and when you say the story, people like her, there are going to be other people that would want to emulate her and would want to be allies in the right manner, not in the manner where they force you to do things. Okay, I mean that is still playing in my head, and that is going to keep playing in my head for a while.
It's going to stay with me also for a very long time.
No, absolutely, it's your experience. It's your experience, but yeah, that is some story. Thank you for watching part 1 of my conversation with Navel Nazareth. Tune in to Pride Lives On in the next 15 days for part 2.